crazy, but you know what I mean. So you get it all mixed up in the sport of college football, and you can't just think that somebody's just going to transition and make that transition smoothly because it don't happen like that all the time, and the lack of development going around matters. It matters. It just does. It matters. And we'll. Yo, what's up, y'all? What's cracking? What's cracking out there, y'all? What up? What it do, man? What's up, man? We're gonna get it right into it, man. Welcome to the Fans Point of View. I'm your host, Trekking Chubby, man. Follow me on all platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, X, and here on YouTube. If you're catching me, man, y'all make sure that y'all like, share, subscribe on no matter what I'm on. Support. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I am reacting to a reaction, okay? That's exactly what's going on. So I'm reacting to somebody reacting. Shout out to the 0 to 60 podcast with Bailey Price and Bailey Price Media. Y'all check them out. And 0 to 60 podcast, Matt McChesney, he's the host, and him and Bailey are co-hosts in that show. And also 365 Sports with Christian Foria and Zach Gleb. Okay, Zach Gleb, the Zach Gleb show. Okay. So that's what's going on at 365 Sports. Shout out to Zach Gleb and them over at 365 Sports. Just want to give credit to that, man. But hey, look, man, let's just get right up into it, man. Let's not waste no time. Let's go ahead and get it going, and then I'll give my commentary after y'all listen.
365 Sports. How about the direction of your alma mater with Colorado? Deion Sanders, the first 2 years, it was fun. Last year, without Shador and Travis Hunter, it didn't work out well. Was that as what happened a year ago? Was that as good as it's ever going to get for Colorado with Coach Prime?
Well, see, you don't have enough time for me to get into that. See that helmet right there? It's some of my best memories of my life. I'll just put it this way because I don't have time to get. I'm just not a fan of the coach. I'm not. I'll never be a fan of the coach. I love the school, and this isn't me picking on Deion Sanders because I pick on Joe Gibbs. The worst coach I've ever had was Joe Gibbs. So me picking on Deion Sanders is nothing. I just don't like the way he coaches football. I don't think he's very bright. I don't think he can manage a game. I think there's a lot of flash, but I think there's no substance, and he's got a lot of people like brainwashed. And, we'll see. We'll see what he can do. But I'm not a fan of him. Not a fan of his coaching style, not a fan of his messaging. There's a lot of things, internally that I know about that I'm not a fan of. And it's just not worth my energy to sit there and follow it and then go back and forth with the Emperor Has No Clothes crowd that support him regardless of how stupid he is sometimes. So, that's the way I feel about it. And it bugs me that a lot of alumni just don't speak up about it. They don't say anything. And but I will. So
hey, wow. Now let's hear what Matt McChesney had to say on the 0 to 60 pod. Some of what he had to say. Matt said a lot. Said a whole lot.
Talking about. So I'm glad that Christian's saying some of the stuff he's saying. I can't sit here and disagree with him, honestly. And I'm glad he said that no one speaks up because he ain't talking. I'll tell you one thing, he ain't talking about you. He ain't talking about me. That's for damn sure. So, it's there's a lot of people who think I'm the only one who thinks this shit is important. Like there's a lot of people who think that I'm the only one who thinks the fight song and the history and everything else is important. And yes, did we have down years? Yeah, we did. From 2006 until Coach Prime got here, they only went to 4 bowl games. They only have one 10-win season. But if you really know CU, it wasn't as bad as you think it is. There were 3 straight 5-7 seasons where one of them they started 5-0. They beat Nebraska a bunch. They won big time rivalry games. There was a lot to be proud of as well. So look, I'm not mad at Christian for what he's saying, and I support him in a lot of it, to be honest with you. And all of it, like damn near all of it. I can't sit here and disagree with the guy. I mean, he's in. If we were on in this stupid ass University of Colorado Civil War, where it's like the real Colorado fans and the people that will support it regardless of who the coach is and the prime sexuals, I'm definitely on Christian's side in all of this. So,
all right.
Look,
Matt had to say a lot, man. Now I'll give I'll give what I had to say about this, right? Try to keep it quick and get to it short and sweet. Get right up into it. They said a lot, man, without saying a lot, right? I mean, especially Christian Forer. There's some things that's going on internally that he just not a fan of and he won't speak on, right? And that's cool. And you ain't supposed to, right? You know what I'm saying? He let his disdain be known enough, like to the point where he was bought into it. He was bought into it. Y'all can go and check it out on 365 Sports with Matt Foria or the Zach Gleb show. Y'all can go check that out. Also, go check out the 0 to 60 pod with Bailey Price and Matt McChesney. Matt McChesney, Bailey Price, however you want to go. You know what I mean? But now I had to come up here on the fans' point of view and give it to y'all just how, from the fans' point of view and how I see this thing, right? Give my opinion on it and how I've been feeling about Colorado and the things that's the disdain that's just going on, right? Because you're not winning. You said you was going to bring Louis in and you're just simply not winning, right? And the brainwashed people, the propaganda channels that prop up the dumb stuff, and they take small truths and they turn it into something else, and you could turn a narrative and spin a narrative. Genius with that, right? Spin master. A lot of people do it. A lot of people don't understand the game of football. They're just Deion Sanders fans as a player. And I just spoke out recently and said that this will tarnish his legacy if Colorado continues to lose and they continue to go this way. And this is why I said that, simply because the simple fact, a lot of these younger generation guys, that is Shedeur Sanders fans or not, they don't know Deion Sanders the player. They only know him as a coach. So if they only know him as a coach, and as a coach, you have a losing record, you're getting stomped in bowl games, you're not really doing too much, that's their legacy to them. Now, will there be people to argue that he was a great football player? Absolutely. Now, do a lot of people say that great football players don't make great coaches? Yes. Is that the excuse? No. Why is it? Because you didn't come in there humbly. You came here saying that you got Louis, that you was going to run the show, that you was going to win. And you were winning down at Jackson State University, where I think that strongly you should have just stayed your butt down there at Jackson State University. You had a good thing going down there. People were starting to pay attention to that HBCU culture. Again, they were watching HBCU games, a lot of them, to the point where the HBCU came out with their own app in order to watch the games. And then it also drew people and motivated people like Ed Reed to go down to Bethune-Cookman. It also had motivated a lot of people, the sponsors, to get involved, such as Walmart, that helped build the field, that pitched in, build the locker room. A lot of sponsors were coming in. A lot of people, a lot of major celebrity sponsors were coming in and helping out HBCUs, and it wasn't that much of a problem. Now, you could go into talking about the whole. We could even go back and look at, like, he motivated Deshaun Jackson to be a coach, Delaware State. Michael Vick at Norfolk State, Eddie George at Tennessee State. They were trickling in. And Ed Reed wasn't just the only guy that was motivated by this movement. Now, could you imagine if all these guys are down there? Now, I know it's long gone and it's past and it's helped, but how much of attention that he continues to bring now? They're trying to use their celebrity, but they have nowhere near the crowd that he has. And he knew that. This was now, could you say that this was for his sons? I don't necessarily think so. I think that Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter would have been drafted, and there would have been many others to go with them out of the HBCU arena or area that would have been drafted had he stayed put down there. I mean, for crying out loud, the man brought a whole combine to just Colorado alone, aka the showcase, because Shiloh didn't get invited to the combine, right? So they brought one up there. Things like that could have easily happened. I mean, his son Deion Sanders Jr. has one of the biggest platforms in the world. I mean, he could have just went live on his YouTube alone and did the combine on there, and it would have done numbers, tremendous numbers. and reached a whole mass of people that probably weren't able to reach. Now, why am I talking about this and spinning it that way? Because I spoke out on this the other day, and I'm gonna continue to pick up there and leave off there because of what's going on now. The relevancy. That's all you have at Colorado. You have not won. And dominated like it was like you're supposed to. It has not happened. It just hasn't. And people are speaking out, and now you got to use people to spin narratives that and just find these small, simple truths and turn them into something bigger than what they are. When the legacy was there to be built, but then when you turn around and you preach to your players that just stay put, the bag is going to come. Just stay put, stay down. And you don't do that. You got to lead by example. And leading by example has not happened. So when you're sitting there telling people and young men that they should just stay put, stay down, and work things out, you didn't do that. You showed them that bigger opportunities and a bigger bag will make you get up. Now, was there some money issues with HBC on Jackson State University? Absolutely. They weren't trying to pay the staff or anything like that, but they knew that before he got into that. That it wasn't going to be there. That a lot of the sponsor, his name, image, and likeness was going to carry him down there. Now, Jackson State University has still shown to be one of the better teams since he left, but still, had he stayed down there, they would have continued to be winning. This brand would have been big, way bigger, and there would have been, with all these ex-NFL players now coaching in HBCU and the FCS level, there would have been a lot more attention there, so much more. So the whole thing of where I'm getting at with this is that practice what you preach. They seen you make the move. Everybody's seen it. The world's seen you make the move. The whole world's seen you make the move. And they seen you do something totally different than what you're trying to preach. So some people could back you up. You can get other celebrities to try to back you up, ex-NFL players, and say, oh, you're so profound in what you're saying to these young men about these NIL deals and wanting to get their bag. But when it came time for you to stay down and for you to actually change the whole culture, you didn't do that. You decided to get up and bounce and not stay down and let the bag come, because it was coming. The amount of attention that he had gotten down there at Jackson State University was it was huge, astronomical. It just was. It was insane numbers, big numbers, huge numbers. And they knew that. The NCAA knew that. And a lot of these D1 ADs knew that. Rick George was a genius for bringing you in. They didn't bring you in because, and he knows that. He knows why they brought him there. He knows it. They brought you there largely because of entertainment. There could have been other places he could have gone besides Colorado, but a lot of people didn't want the cameras behind the scenes. Colorado allowed that because they needed that. They wanted that. They seen how lucrative and how big Deion Sanders Jr. channel was and how much attention that it was bringing to the FCS level. Now imagine what it can do to a program who has been struggling and revive a program in D1. That's what they saw. That's what he saw. Now, is he feeling does Deion Sanders possibly feel some kind of way about them doing that? Possibly, most definitely, because he know exactly what they wanted out of him. But you still went out and sold out. And yet you still have a lot of people brainwashed and a lot of people out here caping and going off and saying and not challenging you as a man. Got yes men all around you, all around. And it didn't work, and it hasn't worked yet. And these content creators continue to be yes men to you. They continue to not challenge anything everything he says. They continue not to challenge him. They continue to keep telling people that everybody he brings in is highly productive and is good, and they're gonna win 8 games off top. They don't give the fans the information about Brian Marion. Okay, he did well at UNLV in a Mountain West, a G6 conference. Has never been really where his success was at the D1 level. Yes, that's Division 1, G6, Mountain West Conference UNLV is in, right? They're not in the Big 12, which you can say is another G5 conference. Some people will argue that. I won't disrespect it because I think they have been playing a great ball. There are some great coaches in the Big 12. He couldn't outcoach the best coaches in the Big Sky with 36. He was the head coach at Sacramento State last year that had the most Division I players in all of the FCS with 36 of them, and couldn't outcoach the coaches in the Big Sky. What makes anybody think that he's going to be able to come into the Big 12 and outcoach Willie Frentz, Sonny Dykes? Hell, can we go forward? Dave Aranda. Do you want me? I mean, that's just 3 coaches that I named. Dillingham. Can we keep going? Should I? Kalani Sataki. These are guys that all have great Joey McGuire, his Texas Tech team has came up recently. There's going to be a lot of good football teams, well-coached football teams. Not to say that his philosophy won't wind up working, but it's his first year. You have brought in your 4th year, you brought in 42 new players. They won't put that out there. They won't put that information out there. It's all about relevancy now. Because that's the first thing anybody would say. The program was dead. Deion Sanders brought that up. Oh, without Deion Sanders, YouTube channels wouldn't be there. Exactly. That's how much attention Deion Sanders has. That you can literally talk. You can get on a microphone and get a camera and say everything positive about Colorado, even if it's lies, even if it's just the smallest truth, and speak nothing but positivity behind the camera. That's not challenging him, and your channel will grow astronomically. Big channel. And that kind of notoriety alone could absolutely and would have absolutely helped the FCS, the SWAC. It would have absolutely helped that. So when Alabama State's head coach really said to him, once again, you're not SWAC, that meant something to him. That meant something to him. And he's not SWAC. He never was. This is a ploy to you to get a bigger job. You're a clown. I'm not giving you any of my respect because you don't deserve it as a man. He stood on that. He showed us way back when, the man who we're dealing with right now and who has totally contradicted everything that he has said and done, and nobody challenges it. This video probably won't do good for the simple fact that I'm challenging him and that everything that I'm saying is not positive or dribbling down his sack. Pause. Do I respect the man's grind? 100%. 100% I respect his grind. Do I respect him as a father? 100% I respect him as a father. Would you have made some of the same moves for your children? 100% I probably would have made those same choices for my children. But understanding who you are and what you have, when people start coming for you, he's been around the block. I have not. He's been a celebrity. He's been in the limelight all his life. He knows the kind of star power he brings. He knew that his son's channel was the biggest channel on YouTube at the time. The things that you have brought, the things that you can bring, the sponsors that your son was bringing in alone on top of you, the commercials that you could have gotten. Aflac was still going to do it. Whether you were a coach at a community college or whether you were a coach at Jackson State University, or even if you transferred to Prairie View and wherever, if things wasn't working out at Jackson State, anywhere in the HBCU culture, those same advertisements would have still been around. College Game Day for the first time in a long time had came down to HBCU. That's how powerful the man's cachet is, how powerful the man's media presence is. but he decided to turn his back on the whole culture. And now you have to deal with some of the same things, but now it's even worse because you're not winning. You're not winning. The legacy will have forever been tarnished because of some mistakes that you make throughout your life. And as he says, the grass isn't greener on the other side all the time. You can make moves, and we all make moves. And these same young men that's on your football team now that have not been successful, that have not been developed in the way that they want to, they have decided to move on. The same way you decided to move on from Jackson State University to the University of Colorado. They decided to go and take their talents to bigger universities such as Texas A&M, or in the SEC, the Big Ten, the ACC, wherever they end up at. They decided to go there for a bigger reason, not just the bag. Just because you make moves for the bag, because that's the only logical explanation. Just because you make moves for the bag doesn't mean that everybody else has to make the moves for the bag. But the fact that he keeps bringing it up and his pundits keep bringing it up, the moves for the bag, is why we know he simply left Jackson State University because of the money. But he was generating a whole lot for himself. And I'm sure something could have worked out. Something could have worked out. But for some reason, and I'm not understanding why. Why is this a problem for me to challenge? Are you supposed to keep turning your back on your people? And it's not even. And are you supposed to keep doing that? I mean, let's just talk about it really. Are you supposed to just keep turning your back on your people? People are going to, the right people are going to support you regardless. And when I say your people, no, I'm not just saying just black people. I'm saying the people that have came from nothing, the people that struggle, the kids that don't have high GPAs. He was getting ready to start breaking the color barrier at HBCUs. That was really, and it's already happening, but he was going to exponentially do that. Enrollment has been up at Colorado. We know what he brings. The enrollment went up at Jackson State University. The enrollment all through HBCUs had went up when he was there. It would have been 10 times as bigger. But nobody wants to tell this man exactly what it is that he's done. But that's something that he got to live with at the end of the day. But to keep defending him, knowing that it ain't right, knowing that this was any other coach, that everybody would be on his neck about a lot of the things that is going on at Colorado that isn't right. Anybody would be dragged. Everybody wanted him to be successful, how cursing that he was. That's what we thought. That's how we believed, because that's what we seen at Jackson State University. We seen it happen. So we thought he was going to come in here and do the same thing cursing that he did at Indiana. Didn't happen. Doesn't have the experience. Brought a lot of gold jackets, Hall of Fame coaches. As a coach, they did not do well. They did not succeed well. Warren Sapp, one of the best Hall of Fame defensive linemen. Well, for the first couple years with his defensive line analysts or whatever else, your defensive line has not looked good at all. Marshall Faulk, as a running back coach, first year, the first time doing it, has not looked good there. Having Pat Schumer there did not help, none whatsoever. An NFL coach at the collegiate level still could not manage to come up with 6 wins. With all the NFL experience, you cannot get 6 wins on a college level. That is a lot that's wrong with that. But we are going to continue to act like that's not a problem. That isn't something that it just happens. And yes, losing happens. It does. Coaching's not easy. It's a full-time job. But when your main focus is to get clicks and likes, to be relevant on the internet, to be the most popular on X, to be the most liked on Instagram, to have the most views on YouTube, the focus is not football. And it will show on the field when you go up against great coaches who put their time and efforts into that. Now he thought he can do the same thing he did at Jackson State and just out-talent everybody. It don't happen that way. Now, was that a problem at Jackson State? No, it's not. But eventually you was going to have to start coaching. He knew that because twice he went to the Celebration Cricket Bowl and lost to North Carolina Central. Beat them both times. Outcoached in both times. Because the talent was almost equal. You possibly had more D1 names than they did. But outcoached. And it would have came down to that. So I don't know if you were running from the fact that you would probably have gotten exposed at the FCS level or what it is. But the fact still remains is that now players or ex-players and the ex-alumni of Colorado University are coming out and speaking about your tactics and how everything is. But you got the bag and you're relevant. And that's all that matters. And that's something that we just keep forgetting out there. That's the most important thing to him alone. He don't care about you defending him in the comments against me. He don't know you. He don't care about me. He don't care about what I say. You don't know the man. You never met him. He's not going to come give you $1,000 because you got underneath my comments and told me my video sucked because I talked about Deion Sanders. It's not going to happen. And one thing is not going to happen. I will never get in front of him if invited to or interviewed and ever freeze up. I want to have a real conversation, a tough conversation, a conversation that nobody has ever went to and had with Deion Sanders. Nobody. Not Chad Ochocinco, not Shannon Sharp, not LaShawn McCoy, not nobody that's had and out loud. Now behind the scenes, perhaps they probably have said some of these things, but not up front and not up close personal. But I would love to do that. But I'm not going to freeze because you tell us a lot and you tell us to do a lot. You give a lot of great advice, but you don't do it yourself. And I think that's what the players seen. The players seen that it was much more than just talk. That you was talking about it, but you wasn't walking. You was doing the total opposite of what you was trying to tell them to do. Pete tough, fast, disciplined, with character. And he was none of that. Instead of being tough, it was weak. Instead of being disciplined, you were undisciplined. Instead of having character, you had showed none. Because I barely seen you. You know what I'm saying? So how do we get here? Simply, and I'm going to say it like this one more time just to remind y'all. We all got here because it happened before our eyes once again in history. Once again in history, another man has walked away from the responsibility that truly was his to build up a culture, to help out what really needed help, and to walk away from it for money and fame was more important. So when he puts that on players like Jordan Seaton, his cronies come out and say that, and he doesn't refute it. And he keeps continuing saying the bag. That's because of the moves that he would make personally as a man, projecting himself onto them. It's not because, and he can't take responsibility for letting down the culture in his face. And ain't nobody man enough to say it. But that's all I got to say, man. Y'all know how I give it up. Y'all seen what everybody else had to say. Make sure y'all go check out 0 to 60 podcast with Matt McChesney and Bailey Price. Go check out the Zap Glab show with 365 Sports featuring Matt Fuhr. Fans Point of View. I'm Truckin' Chubby. Follow me on Instagram, X, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and here on YouTube. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Pray for yourself. Pray for each other. Pray for me, man, because I'm always praying for y'all. And that's a fact.